Ooh. All right, we are live. Ooh. All right, we are live. Ooh.
All right, all right, all right. Welcome everybody. Welcome to the special edition of HighLevel Experience podcast. I'm so excited to have you all here with us today. We've got a lineup of 20 amazing speakers, 23 actually, 24, 25, something like that. A lot of awesome people. We got Sean Clark joining us as well. And we've got all of you guys watching live or watching replay. So thank you so much. And without further ado, let me introduce you to all our amazing speakers today. Because I'm not here by myself today. I am with all these legends. And I'm super. Oh, I knew this is going to break. Here we go. All right. This is quite work. Let me just clean this up a little bit, guys. I'm just going to get rid of these these AI assistants, and then we'll kick it off. So feel free to unmute, guys, for the minute, and we'll just dive into all that good stuff shortly and explain what's happening. Excellent. So yeah, so I'm here joining me a bunch of awesome legends, and we'll yeah, you guys can unmute. Awesome. Now, this is a bit more interactive experience, so we'll be able to pull some of these comments into the chat as well. If you guys are watching live, we should be able to do that as well. So feel free to do that. If you are with us here, if you're speaking with us, then just a couple of things. We've got a bit of a structure, so feel free to let me know if it sucks. You can do these reactions. And actually, fancy stuff will float around. Like we're flying, we're high level, we're going for it, so we can do that one. Yeah, Facito is already at it. So funky stuff's happening there. Make sure that you guys that are on this as speakers, make sure you keep your camera on. So you just hit that little thing there. There it is, and then that'll do it. You know the drill. Now we're gonna get started real soon. We're gonna kick off with Sean, because he's a busy guy and we appreciate him being on. So if you have any questions, put them in the chat. If you guys are watching online, if you're watching us from YouTube, if you're watching us from Facebook or LinkedIn, put your comments in the chat. We can see them here, and I'll be able to spotlight them. And then without further ado, one more thing I wanted you guys to let you know. This is international. This is very much international. So what I'll guys like you to do with me here on Zoom, if you guys can put in a chat what country or what city, actually I should say, what city you're joining on from today in the Zoom chat. So you guys watching online, you can see this is real. Like we're here. We got Charles Higgins from Nashville, Tennessee. Shout out to Charles. Bound from California. Joel, Vancouver, Canada. Sydney, Australia. Alok, Sean Clark, Eugene, Oregon. Is that? Alistair Shirazi, San Diego. James Hurst, Provo, Utah. Michael Pacito, Ontario, Canada. Chris Brackle, Blue Mountains. Oh, mate, we got Blue Mountains in Sydney as well, but this is another one in Canada. Cool. And
Yeah.
Gary Cap, Australia. Awesome. Angie from Queensland. Jared from Tassie, Michael from Palm Beach, Florida. That sounds like a nice place. Andy Odate from Vegas. Vegas, baby. Ryan O'Connor, Sydney, Australia. Pulse Market in Denver. Priya from India. Lucky from Gold Coast. Let me check mine in. I'm over from Canberra. I want my pin. Now I want my pin. Canberra, Australia. Nobody know Canberra. It's a small little place, but it's a capital of Australia. Um, Alert Canada. Alert, alert. Awesome. Excellent. So we are all over. We are all over. We're that's a lot of us. So thank you guys for being on. Really appreciate you taking time out of your busy day. You guys are absolute legends, and I'm really excited to have you all with me today. Now, let's get started. So I'm gonna spotlight Sean and and then we'll get started. Sean, I've got a couple of questions for you.
Uh-oh.
Um, so hang on, let me just get my little thingy widget. Here we go. Where is Sean? Where is Sean? There is Sean. Excellent. So I have a couple of questions for you, but then we're going to have an open mic for the rest of the legends here as well to be able to ask a couple of questions. First of all, thank you so much for being on. Really appreciate you, uh, you know, joining us because I can only imagine what it must feel like running such a massive company. Just one more second, actually. I forgot to do this. One more thing. Sorry, this is just my OCD killing me. I'm sure others can relate. OCD is a real thing, isn't it? Uh, all right. So thank you so much for being on. I really appreciate you. I've got a couple of questions, but I want to kick it off with the first one. What goes into putting such an epic event that you guys just pulled in Dallas? What goes into it?
Gosh, that is a really great question. I think what's cool about it is it's all um, put on basically by our team. So our team plans the event, runs the event, staffs the event all the way through. And what's cool about that is they all have day jobs, right? So this is something they do in addition to what they normally do. I would say it takes about almost all year to plan. So it's a pretty big lift. But it's cool because it's also the most fun we have getting together all year with everybody. And I would say we always try to make it a reflection of what we heard we could do better or differently from the previous year. So kind of like we build our software, it's kind of a fun situation because hopefully we're kind of bringing out something that got asked for last year and this year, or trying something new that we felt like people wanted. But it is an absolutely massive undertaking. Um, but it's a lot of fun to do. I don't know. I will say when it first got proposed many years ago, I was scared out of my mind, but now I look forward to it every year.
Let me tell you, I mean, it's such an epic event. Really, I've been to a bunch of events and nothing beats it. And the other day I was talking with a guy from India who's got like a big VA agency, and he says, "This is the first time I went to a conference." I'm like, "Oh, mate, you've raised the bar high. I don't think nobody else is going to beat it for you." Now you have to go to high level every day, every time. It's such an epic event. Yeah, really, really cool. Every time I go, it's really nice to meet all the friends and meet new people. If you guys are watching, I highly recommend it. It's worth a bit of money. It's cost a bit of money, but it's worth every dollar. So thank you
Well, the
so
good
much. I
news
want
is
to say,
we
yeah.
net lose money on that event, so don't worry. We're not taking your money and making money off of it. We net lose money, so don't worry. We put it all back in and more. So
Yeah, look, I mean, this year you've raised the bar again. You went in a different venue. I think it was really good decision. A lot more space. I'm sure everybody else can agree that there was. I mean, great for vendors especially. No longer you had that little like a hallway. It was just like really open. So yeah, well done. It's epic. Now I've got a couple more questions for you. Just with the with all the mountain of all the features that you guys drop. That's like that's not usual for companies to drop them all like that at once. Um, and you just announced a mountain of these. If you had to sum it up, what's like, I don't know, like what's like the main storyline of these new 2025
well, that's a
level up
good question. I
releases?
mean, I would say it's a good combination of AI and actually product maturity. I mean, I think one of the things I'm most proud of, honestly, is we spent a lot of this last year working on bringing the product up in all places to something we felt like could really compete with the biggest and baddest out there. And I think the team has done a fantastic job of that. When I saw the new builder drop, I was as excited as everybody else because I was as surprised as everybody else. But I was the most thrilled to see the reaction we got from our customers because I just told me the team was firing on all cylinders. Anytime you go big like that, you're gonna be imperfect. But I have to say, just overall across the whole thing, the amount of maturity I saw was really the most impressive thing for me. I love the Agent Studio and I love what's forthcoming from the AI perspective, but we live in a world now where a lot of our customers, I think, when we deliver stability or speed or UX UI improvements, there's just more real world benefit today than there has been in the past. And I'm a feature addict and I admit it, so I'll always like new features, but I really can't appreciate that the stability and the maturity that we've been bringing to the product. So I would say that's the hallmark for me.
Yeah. They are epic. And I gotta tell you, I've already been digging into that new contact view. I've been showing it to my clients. For me, I've been begging for this for years. The ability to click a button and have an expanded version for email. It's a little thing, but it means a lot. So thank you so much for doing that. Agent Studio, voice AI, docs, workflows, AI tools. These are big leaps. How do you balance innovation speed with user simplicity?
The best you can. Um, it's an imperfect situation. I mean, you know, gosh, well, I will say it has changed over time quite a bit. So when we were early on, it was, uh, go ahead and break stuff if that means shipping something new. And I would say that we've gone radically the other direction. But I would say, I guess what I would say about it is I've challenged the team to try to stay as nimble as possible, as feature focused as possible. But I've also said, you can't deliver broken, incomplete products. And I'm sure that there'll always be people who will say, well, you missed this or you missed that. And but I don't care about that. We're still very much part of the skateboard model, but I think the difference is the skateboard just needs to be a little more robust when it comes out these days. And I think the team has done a really good job kind of meeting that challenge. But the biggest thing I'm concerned about is I don't want to be like everybody else. Like, I don't want to ship stuff once a quarter or once every 6 months or once every year. It's just not who we are and who we're going to be. I think it's incredibly important to stay agile, and mostly because our customers are agile, right? Like all of you are telling us every day, like, hey, do you see this new thing? And do you see that new thing? And I need this and I need that. And I would hate to say, well, we'll put it on the list for next year. Like that just seems like a miserable way to exist. So we'll always be on the side of go fast and break stuff a little bit, but we break a lot less than we used to. I'll tell you that.
And we love that for you doing that, because to me, that's like a model as a company. I keep looking at HighLevel as a model for any company. It's like this skateboard method just makes so much sense. And I would also say it's probably even non-negotiable at this point. Just like the rate of innovation is just way fast. So it's really, the speed is the name of the game these days. Is you blink an eye and then like a month later you're already behind on the tech side. So you guys are on the right track. What you've been doing for the last 5-6 years, I think 2018 when you guys started, since it's just that track record just shows the model works, and we really are happy for what you guys do for us. So it's brilliant.
Thanks.
What's
Well,
been
we're thankful to all of you. I mean, we wouldn't be here without you. I mean, the thing that still holds true to this day is, we don't wake up every day and think, oh, we know what to do. We have no idea what we're doing that day. So thankfully, all of you were there to show up and tell us what to do and how to do it right. So we're very appreciative of all of you, because we wouldn't be here without your counsel and your coaching.
what's been the hardest
You're welcome,
production
Sean.
decision you
Anytime.
Let's open it up to the room. Let's open it up. I just feel like I'm taking the spotlight here. So let me get the folks
John,
here into the room.
Sean, it's Chris Brakel. I just wanted to jump in and speak to the maturity of the product. I love the quality of life improvements, because when I think about the innovation that is going to continue to be stacked on this platform, if you don't clean up a bit of the code debt and everything else sitting there, and the UI debt and everything else, it starts getting crowded, and really painful for the users to adopt these new features quickly. So I love that we've got this quality of life change where users are going to take a week or two to kind of like get in that muscle memory that's there. And I think that'll accelerate our entire user base's ability to grow with this tool set. So I really do thank you for taking that on. It's always hard to balance and always hard to get that done in product management, because the new shiny stuff are what you compete on. But I really feel like someone was making the right call here to get the quality of life stuff set up. So
we're not done. Don't worry. And and I would say what is also cool behind the scenes, like we just hired a brand new head of product. His name is Sean Kim, and his mission is to really help us continue to raise that bar. And across the board, a lot of our leadership hires are kind of around this idea. Just because that's not my skill. So, but I respect it. So we wanted to put some people in place we felt like could continue to hold that high standard and do so kind of out of the gate versus having to go back and clean it up later. So don't worry, we'll continue to clean a lot of stuff up, and we'll also continue to just set a higher bar for our initial launches. And I think you're kind of already seeing that, hopefully, but I think you'll just continue to see it, because I agree with you. I think we want you to be able to sit our product down next to anybody else's and feel really confident in telling your client that it's going to be robust and it's going to scale and it's not going to go down, because there's a lot of value in that.
Right. Awesome.
Sean, you built one of the fastest growing SaaS companies in the world. What's been the biggest leadership challenge scaling from startup to global brand?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, first of all, I don't feel like I built it. I feel like we built it. Um, I really, I do say that in all seriousness. I really would not be here without all the amazing people, both internally and externally, that I have the pleasure of working with. So, but I would say the biggest challenge over time, was figuring out who to trust to do the things that you were doing a minute ago and that you felt really good at, but you realized that over time weren't going to scale very well. And then even things that like maybe you were sort of like half good at, but you just felt like would be really hard to hand off to somebody else. Um, but realize you kind of had to do that in order to scale. And honestly, making mistakes, like knowing like when you hire that person, like you know, you're going to make some bad decisions and you're going to hand off to some people that do bad things and they're going to impact your customers in negative ways, but sort of realizing like long term, that's like the only process you could figure out to go through in order to kind of get to the end where you do find someone who's really amazing at it. And in my case, almost all, in all cases, better than I am or ever was at it. But and then finally start seeing the results. It's a big long transition process, and there's a lot of pain and suffering in the middle where you make dumb choices or they make dumb choices and you still have to sort of own up to them.
So still operating like a startup phase, and you are true to the core of that skateboard method, not just with feature releases, but with hiring stuff as well and running the business. That's epic.
I think that's
I
really
love it.
important, actually. I mean, as you get bigger, you get a lot of people who tell you, you need to be different or hire different people or this or that. I've hired plenty of people with really fantastic looking LinkedIn resumes that were really terrible. And to be fair to them, I don't know that they're like terrible, terrible. It's just they kind of show up with their own playbook and then they try to run that playbook. And if that playbook isn't your playbook, like it doesn't go well, and bad things happen. So, I mean, hiring for a cultural fit is as important or more important than hiring for a skill set fit. At least that's been my experience.
Yeah, I'm kind
I
of
love
curious,
it.
Sean, as you're going through and hiring the next level of leaders for high level, you kind of talked a little bit about it, but a little more on how you decide if someone's going to be a great fit or how someone's going to be successful, or what do you look for in those hires?
Sure. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so first, I don't hire anybody because I suck at that. So first, find people who are really good at hiring and have them do it. But to be fair to those, even my best people, so like all of the really, just so you're aware, anything that's like hard or of consequence or looks like it's really well done in this company, it's probably Robin or Varun who did it, not me. But if you were to ask them, I think they would still say, you can spend a lot of time talking to people, but at some point, you just got to put them on the job and see what happens. Like, um, I have yet to see anybody do better than that. And it's like the hire fast, fire fast. I don't know. They're stupid saying for this crap. But the reality is that it's just like you I would just say I've never met anybody who can hire perfectly out of the gate. And I think if you go in with that mindset and you just like try to put that person in the fire as fast as you can and just see how they perform. Like that's the best I've ever seen anybody do. And yeah, you're gonna like we had bad hires. Like we had somebody who we hired who had a really smoking great resume on the customer service side. And I thought she was gonna I thought they were gonna scale customer service to like amazing heights. And to be fair to them, I think they did great in their previous position. They just came into our world where culturally, in their previous role, maybe they were hiring like 5 people a week. We were hiring 50 people a week, and they just couldn't keep up. And they just couldn't wrap their head around the fact that like they were going to have to do things they felt uncomfortable doing. And just over time, what I found out, sadly later than I'd want to, is that especially with customer service, like if you back up in customer service, it's not like you just impact the next person, you impact everybody, right? And like that. And so when my DM started blowing up, and then for a long time, I was like trying to ask questions, and this person like, "Don't worry, I got it, I got it, I got it." But really, it was like there was like a massive fire burning behind them, and they just couldn't come out and say like they were failing because I think they felt like that was their job. So that was a great example where, as hard as I could to say like, "Oh, don't worry about it, I get it, we're kind of crazy here. Like, pull out all the stops, like do whatever you got to do. I don't even care. Like, if we have to get a temp agency involved, like I just don't know, but you just cannot have people not there to answer customer questions, like make it happen. They just couldn't figure that out. So, but I mean, going back, like everybody, I had lots of other people talk to this person and they thought they were great and their resume is smoking awesome. They just didn't work out. But how could I have seen that around the corner? Looking back, I don't know how I could have done any better. They had been in the industry a long time. They interviewed, like I always say, like interviewing is kind of like a first date. Like if you suck at interviewing, like that's like you're really bad, right? Like no one goes on a first date and is like, I don't like to shower that much. I snore really bad, right? Like, I curse like a sailor. No one does that. And if
Maybe
you
we
do,
should. The
you're
world to be a different
well, I
place.
mean, that is the ironic part, right? But the reality is that's not how we operate as people. And so people who interview, they do the same thing, right? So I always hate interviews because I'm sort of like, in fact, what I do now, to be fair, is I try to show up later down the line, and my goal is to get on and be like, hey, what do you want to ask me? Like, what do you want to ask about the organization or whatever? Because a couple of things. One, I want it to be a great fit for them. And then two, it is interesting. I learned a lot. Like, did you bother to figure out who we are or what we do or how we do it or why it's unique? And you kind of learn a little bit of that. And I think some of that tells you a little more than not. But I just think it's okay in this case. I would just say it's an imperfect process. I've never seen anybody do an amazing job at it. I don't think it's possible. And like our skateboard model everywhere else, that's what we do here.
Did you ever get into personality tests and stuff like that in your hiring process?
God, no. We had a bunch of, I have a bunch of like people who did that stuff internally and blah, blah, blah. But I don't, I mean, it doesn't help me. So I don't know. I've learned over time to try to like, I respect the fact that it could enable other people in my organization to do something positive. So I try not to hate on it too much from their perspective. Like if they think it's valuable and it helps them, that's great.
Right.
But, and they can even, and I'll even participate. But in general, I have zero belief in it. I mean, I'm like, whatever, I don't care.
Hey, Sean, Ryan here.
We have software to build, man. Let's go. We got things to do.
Hey, Sean, Ryan here. I thought I'd jump in before I get killed by other people jumping over the top of me. So apologies for that. Can you hear me?
Yes. And that's
Yes.
exactly why we didn't hire you. Actually, I don't know. I don't even know if you interviewed. I'm not sure. I don't do any hiring. I told you that. No, it's not Michael. It's like,
yeah, nothing I say is true. Don't worry, Sean. That was
okay. Good.
It was the shower joke. It was the shower joke.
Sean, if you wouldn't mind just like highlighting a little bit about how the product development lifecycle looks. Like I know when Varun was in Sydney, we were chatting and he was like, there's that many engineers now. He doesn't know all their email addresses. And like, he literally puts a LinkedIn post out to try to like broadcast a message because the cycle rate of new people, new product people coming in or whatever is so big. So like, how does it look now from like someone has an idea internally? It's not just feedback from the community, but someone has an idea and they're like, we're going to build this native integration with this product, right? Like who makes that a good idea internally?
Well, okay. So I would say there are zero ideas that I can personally think of that didn't at some level originate in the community. Now, I don't know that an individual inside the team didn't lift that up higher than the community did by itself, because they had some inherent belief in it. But basically the way it works is product managers take community ideas, whether they're from the ideas list or from the town halls, all that stuff. And then the way so a long time ago, Varun, Robin, and I would look at every idea and we'd greenlight every idea. And eventually, just like at one time I did all the onboarding calls, but at some point you don't scale anymore, right? So what do you do, right? And so what we had to figure out is how to go from there. And so what we did is we give every single product manager a KPI or KPIs around utilization, adoption, those sorts of things. And they really have to take responsibility for their side of the product. So they get to make the decisions, and they have their own review sessions with head of product and things like that. So they don't operate entirely in a silo, but at some point you have to trust those people to make those decisions. And when they make those decisions, like they have to stand behind them through those KPIs, because there's lots of things there's lots of things I thought were great ideas that were terrible, and lots of things I thought were terrible that were good, and everything in the middle. I've long proven to myself I don't know what I'm talking about. So it's just better to give freedom to those people and just tell them what the KPIs look like up front, and have those KPIs dictate, future, promotion, future pay raises, things like that, and then trust them to do the right thing. And I think it's, if you're going to police them, it's more about like, hey, are they talking to customers, right? Like, where are you getting this feedback? And then, we have roadmap calls internally at the beginning of, well, right before the beginning of every quarter. And that's my opportunity to like throw shade, throw curveballs, ask hard questions. And, what I'm looking for is, where does this, if it sounds good to me, I don't say anything because that sounds good, right? But if it's weird, I try to understand and probe on where the conviction comes from. And then sometimes they'll make bets that I don't like. But I'm like, all right, well, your job's on the line for this, not mine. So I'll see you in 2 months, and let's sit down and see, where this got you. And sometimes I win and sometimes I lose. I actually lose more often than I win. So, but that's just how the process works. And again, it just goes back to like hiring people and trusting them and realizing some of them are going to fall down and we've let them go. But the vast majority of them have risen to the occasion and done an amazing job. I mean, I just saw someone compliment us on the Reynolds calendar. And she wrote me a page and a half of how amazing it is. And what that tells me is that team just crushed it and did a great job for that use case. And my bet is, for every one person that says that's great, there's 100 other people who like it too. So that's the kind of trust that we get. But the way I'll know the rental calendar is good is in an upcoming call, I'll say, well, how many people are using it? How many rentals are being booked? How does that square with what your conviction was? Because even there was a choice, right? Like, do we go after the rentals sort of Airbnb-ish style calendaring thingy, or do we go someplace else? Do we go to like job scheduling for HVAC companies or home services or something, right? There's lots of different options. And their conviction was, no, I think rentals is more important because it has a broader customer base. And I said, all right, I trust you, go for it. So we'll see what happens.
Just a quick follow-up there, 1 second follow-up. Just so like Facebook, for instance, has like 24 versions running at once or whatever it is, and they're shipping things and going like, these 7 million people use that, so we're going to push that to all Facebook users. Do you ever run simultaneous versions? So like we could be using a different version down here and adopting it. No,
I mean, we have labs and stuff. So I guess that's kind of our version of that.
Okay.
But again, I guess our hope is that all of the things that we're working on are not like some wild, like that to me feels more like the traditional thing where it's like, well, let's take a guess on what we think people want. Let's test it out and see what's going on. And to be fair to Meta, like I'm sure that's probably how they have to roll, because everyone and their brother would tell them what to do, and there's not a lot of expertise there necessarily. I think we're sort of exceptional in the fact that we have customers who are really good at what they do. And so their advice is just often very good, and they know what direction we should be going. And we don't have to sit around and guess that they tell us. And our job is really just to sift through and figure out, well, what is the majority here telling us, so we can go in that right direction so that they can serve their client. And all we have to really do is try to stay true to that, and we'll do great.
Thanks.
I got a quick question there for you, Sean. You absolutely love building things. I've seen it in all the other companies. Elon Musk buys out HighLevel, gets you out of it completely, and you get to go and build whatever software you want. What kind of a software are you building?
Oh, I don't know what I would do, because I really like what I'm doing. So I have a hard time thinking of anything else I would want to do. I'm not even sure I'd take the deal. I mean, for enough money, I'd take some of the deal, but I don't think I'd want to be out. I got offered to get out a couple times by all kinds of people during this process, and I said for more money than I've ever seen, but I said no both times. And it just because, I mean, I didn't know what else I was going to be doing. I've worked at this my whole life. I'm doing the thing I've always wanted to do. So I couldn't imagine doing anything else. Otherwise, I'd be very bored very quickly. I mean, there'll be like a hardcore month there where I'll probably go on vacation or something and woo, yeah, woo. But then a month later, I'll just be sad and crying at home. So I'd much rather be doing this.
Hey Sean, it's Mike Reamer. First of all, I was like blown away. 300 features that day. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of shining stars there. The AI team, which I'm fond of, they crushed it.
They did do a great job.
crushed it. I mean, the UI UX is just off the chain. But I did notice one thing when you guys were throughout Level Up, you guys are doing more strategic partnerships, like you did OpenAI. They presented at Level Up. You're
Yeah.
doing something with Google slash Gemini.
Yeah, yeah.
And I noticed also the platform seems to be loosening up where you're letting people do semi customizations, bring in API keys on Agent Studios. Is that something we're going to continue to see? Because I see it's a pretty big benefit. It seems that a lot of people
No,
really
I hate
enjoy
the
that.
idea of you bringing your own API key. These are like two bifurcated issues here. So, like long term together, we will get bigger discounts than you'll ever get. And so we will always have a cheaper price than anybody else. I mean, you're already getting OpenAI's rack rate -5%, which for them is a big freaking deal. I don't know why, but they'll play ball better as we go down the road. But we did this with Twilio for a very long time, and I got to tell you, there was never a benefit. The number of people's Twilio accounts I still have access to as a master admin because I had to get on a phone call and give them admin access so I could go debug their silly problem was just prolific and off the charts. There's just no benefit there. Now, that's the second part of the question. The first part of the question, though, is although ironically, we've always had partnerships. We just realized that like we look cooler and more adult and grown up and stuff if we bring these people into our thing. So we did, right? And so that's all just good marketing. You guys are marketers, right? So, but I think again, back to that whole maturity thing, what we're trying to show all of you is that despite the fact that I don't seem very serious, we are very serious. And we have lots of people who are taking a lot of time to make sure like we're SOC 2 compliant, and ISO 27001 and HIPAA, and we're working with the best of the best, but not just working with them, we are meeting with them at the highest of levels. I've been to the fancy OpenAI office. I've talked to people with big titles there and all of that. And we're working very directly with them so we can bring you whatever it is that comes out that's really useful for all of you. We just want to make sure that we've got access. And then just in terms of like what you guys can bring to them, we think it's really important that your voice gets heard because, we don't think we're like the experts in talking to OpenAI. We know that you have a lot of great ideas. So if we can bring these people to our events, I think it gives you a lot more of a voice, which you should have anyways, and allows you to get a platform with them. So that's why we do it. We just think it's a benefit for you.
I found it very beneficial,
That's
for
just Red
sure.
Bull.
I mean,
I hope you know that.
I found it very beneficial, Sean. I mean, the presentations that the engineering team did from OpenAI was a
I
great
thought so
session.
too. I thought so too. I was impressed as well. And then again, by the way, events at GoHighLevel.com. Any feedback you guys want to give, any speakers you want to see next year, like we're really excited to do what you want us to do. You tell me who you want to see, and we'll figure out how to make it happen for you.
Thank you.
Sean,
Well,
Sean,
I want to bring it.
I got a question for you.
Sorry, go for it, Ondi. Sorry.
So at what point so it seems to me that a lot of your focus is on product today. Would you say that's true versus sales and marketing?
Yeah.
Or is it the other way
Yeah,
around?
because I'm a product guy. I'm a product and engineering guy. So I don't know how to sell or market.
So who was responsible for sales and marketing out of you, Varun, and Robin?
Oh, definitely Robin for sure.
And today, if you could speak for him, what is his attention on? Is it still sales and marketing, or is it on product?
Oh, I mean, the problem with Robin is he's too good. So we make him do darn everything. He's like our chief operating officer. Now, to be fair, we have a head of marketing. So he works with that person. That guy's name is Wesley, and he's amazing. But like if I personally want to know something sales and marketing related, I will go to Robin first myself. He has his pulse on all that.
So at the C-suite level, where is the majority of the C-suite level attention? Is it on sales and marketing? Is it 50-50, or is it on product?
Well, Varun and I spend a lot of time on product. And Robin spends about 25% of his time on product and 75% of his time on operations, and sales and marketing. Although sales is a funny one for us. We actually don't think of ourselves as having a sales team. The closest thing we have is like an affiliate team. We do have an affiliate land team these days, so that is a quasi sales team. But it's funny because they call and say, "Hi, I'd like to give you money," so it's like a little bit different. But ultimately, it's but he owns that team, so it's like Austin is affiliate, both land and expand, and also some other stuff, and then Wesley's marketing, and then Robin sits above both of those folks. But I mean, we don't really operate, just to be fair, we don't really operate like a traditional C-suite. Like I don't have like a defined set of roles and responsibilities, and Varun doesn't have those. Like we roam all over the place. I mean, Varun roughly owns dev, and Robin roughly owns this or that, but we're always getting in each other's business all the time, and we roam across the org all the time because we all three together want to see the best outcomes. And if we feel like we can add something to some place, we go and do it. We don't wait around.
Last question here on the KPI that you were mentioning earlier.
Yeah.
If the product team or whoever you give KPIs to, are you giving them coaching if they miss their KPIs?
Well,
Or
they
are
have
you
a boss, right? They have like a head of product. And I mean, at some point, so it all depends on where you're at. Okay. So like as a realistic thing, like you could sort of take a snapshot in time, but if you think, but these things evolve, right? So early on, we didn't have any KPIs and early on, we didn't have any product managers, right? So like as you bring people in over time, you sort of like, you give them a lot more leeway at different points because you sort of like, if there wasn't KPIs before and I just give you KPIs, it's like you kind of need some time, right? And then just so slowly over time, you're kind of like turning up the heat. And so at some point, you're like giving them coaching because you're like, well, this has only been happening for a couple of quarters, maybe, and this is kind of a new motion. And it's not really fair to ask them to like go from just because the biggest challenge for us, right, was like, how do we get just a product manager who can take a list and run it down? Like, you don't have to think, you don't have to like be creative. I'm going to tell you what to do, and you're going to go take it to the team and you're going to make it happen, right? That was motion number one. And once they were really good at that, then it was like, okay, now how do we get them to make their own list? And that was a new motion for them. And then from there, it was like, okay, now you're making your own list. Now, how do you make sure that the list you're making is actually a good list versus a bad list, right? And so it was over time, a lot of this stuff evolved. Now, today, if you walked in from the moment you looked at the job description, it probably says, hey, you will be held accountable for KPIs. But we also have levels of product management now too. So I would say probably across the board at the highest of levels, if you are a head, whatever they call them, top super duper product manager, like you better have your game face on, otherwise you're going to get fired. Like there's no coaching for you. Like you know what you're doing, you know what the objectives are, you know where you're supposed to go, and if you can't do it, sorry, like you're at the top of that product, like you're the leader of that product, you better do that job. It doesn't mean you have to be perfect or anything, don't get me wrong, we're not like nuts, but you can't be like way off in the woods doing stuff no one wants or cares about, or the execution of it can't be terrible and you put out something that's a piece of garbage. Like those things will get you fired at this point. But again, it's a continuum, to be fair. So you gotta, if you're thinking about this from your own org's perspective, you gotta realize where you're at in the run, because you can't go from nothing to like you're fired because you made a mistake. You really have to be super gradiated, and you have to do it slowly over time. And if you do, I think there's a cool trade-off, because you do, as you bring up the expectations, you also bring up the level of freedom you give. And for the right people, like it's amazing. You'll attract real winners that way.
Phenomenal. Thank you.
Yeah.
Brilliant. We're gonna give the mic to Charles. You were next.
Yeah. Sean, great to see you as always.
Hey, Charles, thanks for everything, man. Your feedback's awesome.
Appreciate it. Well, and that's, I'm a product guy. I love product. But one of the things that I really feel has been super special about HighLevel is the town halls. Everybody knows I love some town halls.
I love the town halls too. They're awesome.
From the beginning, starting out 2018, it was a handful of people kind of going over updates, ideas, and it's, grew into a monthly call, and then it grew into a 1 day, a product a day, a couple times a week. Now we're up to 2, almost every day of the week, as the product is just getting bigger and bigger. There's more to talk about. There's more updates, refinements. And it started to pick up attention. A lot of us are pushing people to these town halls.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that, by the way, because early on I was wondering, do we just get a bunch of super experts in there, and then do you end up having to be careful? Like you get people in there who are super nichey, and then you have to tell your product managers like, well, be careful, because just because that person says this one thing, you don't necessarily want to build that, because maybe it only works for them. So I'm glad to hear that more and more people are going.
Yeah, and that's kind of around my question. So as the product keeps expanding, we're already up to 2 calls a day. Obviously, this takes time away from devs, product managers, miscellaneous people on the team. But it's been such a great benefit. From what I've seen, interactions I've had with product managers and devs. How do you see this expanding as the product continues to get larger? Do you see this expanding maybe into even something else where you have, okay, these are the people that we feel like they best match our thought process through these town halls. We've watched them, we've listened to them in town halls, and now we start to create these little advisory panels maybe for that are just about one particular part of the product. How do you see this expanding? Because obviously at some point we've got to, maybe change it again.
There's never been a master plan, and there probably never will be. So I'm open to all things. I couldn't have told you before we had the town halls that we're going to have the town halls. So the answer is I have no idea, right? I think the current structure as it stands is actually very scalable, because as the product splinters, the product managers will splinter, and you'll get, like you said, more and more calls. But as far as like advisory panels and things like that, what I don't have a personal answer on, and that doesn't mean somebody else on the team doesn't, or you don't, or other people, but I've long heard this idea, and like it's like one of those ideas in life where when you hear it, I think it feels super obvious on its face. But then when you really have to think about how to implement it, it becomes chaos, because first of all, who picks who and why and when, and then who's losing and who's winning, and people who lose get upset and they complain. And then did you pick the right person? Because maybe you didn't. Maybe you thought they were so smart and they weren't, or it's like on and on and on. So, and I get this criticism of like our ideas list and all of that. And it's democracy and meritocracy at its best. It's messy, right? And I'm not saying there's not a better idea. I just haven't heard one yet. I would love it if I could get more concise answers from a smaller group of people who somehow just magically knew better. And and the funny part is I'm certain they exist. I just don't feel confident personally how to in sifting through all people and saying, oh, well, now you're the CRM expert or whatever. And I will say, and again, this is just a personal failing of mine. Like, I've been fooled before. I've had people, back in the day, like at first it used to be like the loudest person in the Facebook group would win. Man, we built a lot of stupid stuff because of that. And then I would have people show up to these town halls, and they would just like bang on the counter, like, I've been in CRM for 200,000 years, and this is what you are missing, and I can't believe you idiots, and da da da. And then we went out and built it, and then we would ask them, oh, by the way, okay, we built it. So how many customers do you have again? I'm like, oh, well, I don't actually have any customers yet, you see. But you're like, what the heck? So
I needed that so I could get customers, Sean.
No, I get it. I get it. So I've been fooled before. And again, I'm not saying this is a bad idea at all. I'm just saying I'm not smart enough to figure it out. So for the moment, we'll just keep kicking on. But again, I'm also not as genius as I must appear for all of you. I am not the sole decision maker in my company for a very good reason, because I'm not a genius. So all things are possible. You just have to be willing to sort of like put yourself in our shoes and say, okay, how do you choose winners and losers and do so in a really good, methodical way? And how do you maintain it and scale it outside of what's currently being done today? And if we can find a great answer together, then I'm game. I'm all for it.
Yeah, I just want to commend, on how you guys have rolled that out. I mean, town halls, I think, have been so instrumental in so many things.
I love them, right?
I just want to commend, on how you guys have rolled that out. I mean, oh, there we go. I see that.
I love them, right?
I just want to commend, on how you guys have rolled that out. I mean, oh,
that's not a me thing.
That's not a me thing either.
That's me. Sorry, guys.
That's all right. So, but I love how, there's been feature rollouts or things that are upcoming, and they bring it up in a town hall, and of course you see, maybe several of us are like, oh yeah, no, that's a horrible idea. Don't do that. And here's all the reasons, because we do all come from different backgrounds, different experiences, all different use 100%. Cases. And so I just love how much you guys really take to heart what you hear in those town halls. So it's good to know that's not going anywhere. I'm super thankful that you guys show up
and help, by the way. I mean, I'm just as grateful for all of you, because again, I think even like the ideas board, if you think about it, like there's only so much you can convey in a block of text, right? And, Loom videos are great and all that, but, as you can see, the team wants to ask questions or inquisitive. They're trying to learn from all of you. And so the fact that you show up and take your time, I have massive respect for that.
Awesome. I think Jared, you wanted to ask something as well, right?
I did. Hey, Sean, Jared here.
Hey, man.
Sean, it's interesting, right? Because when you look at all these agency owners, we all have our different challenges, and everyone's business is at a different size, and then those challenges change. They might get bigger, they might get smaller, and I think a lot of people would benefit from hearing how HighLevel faces some challenges, or what challenges they might be facing, and then how they overcome those from a strategic point of view,
Sure.
because I think that everyone can take something from that.
Got any examples?
Well, I want you to lead that one off, because I certainly wouldn't know the challenges that you guys are facing. But, I know coming into November now, some of the things that we're going to be seeing is retention being one of them, because, typically now it's coming into the end of year, people start looking at budgets, looking at ways to do cuts. That's just one thing from an agency point of view that we see.
Sure. Yeah, well, I mean, you should tell them that they're nuts to go anyplace else. You got the best deal in town.
Yeah.
But, gosh, that's interesting. I'm sure we have challenges all the time. I guess I just think we see a lot of we try to see the opportunity, I guess, in a lot of those challenges. So I don't know that we sort of see them so much as a challenge. The question is like, how do you just create the opportunity out of the thing? So like, and we're very incremental in how we do it, and we're not very structured. And I think that flexibility makes things that do come up feel a little less heavy. Like we're getting sued by a couple of people. You can go look at it. It's all public and stuff. That's a real bummer when that happens. But then you learn like, wait, you know what? It's actually an opportunity, because some of these people, oddly enough, are doing it to get your attention, not because they're accusing you of something so that they can get you on a call, so they can try to get you to do a deal with them. It's very weird. I don't get it personally. It's not how we behave. But when you start to kind of see those things a little differently, they can go from like, oh, that sucks, to like, oh, well, wait a second, how can we work this out in a different way? And sometimes, you just have to be like, no, thanks, not interested in doing a deal with you, and we'll just have to fight it out, and you're going to lose this anyways. But at the end of the day, it also could become an opportunity. Like, it could also show that certain people behave differently, and some people respect that, and some people don't. So I think for us, I don't know. I'm trying to think. I know what you're looking for. Trying to think of a challenge I have. I'm sorry. Again, like it was really challenging, like I said earlier, to give up a lot of my previous roles. It's always challenging. Like when people I still get hurt feelings every time someone says you suck in the Facebook group. So those are that's a challenge for me. Learning how to, I would say, but I do that a lot. I learn how to like take the punch in the face and turn it into an opportunity. Because I often find that people get angry not because they actually think you suck. They just are like hurting. Like they have they're like you've caused them some difficulty, or they're running into some difficulty. And the opportunity there is if you sort of like, like cry in the corner for a minute, like I do, and then you come back and you're like, okay, wait, how can I help this person? It's amazing how lots of those things can very quickly shift into, maybe they just didn't understand something. You get them help, and then all of a sudden they're really happy, and you feel good because you've helped them. Sometimes people even apologize for being jerks. Is amazing, and we're all like that. We're like all human. We all do that in our own place. And so I don't know. I mean, there's lots of structural challenges, like trying to figure out how to do a better job every day. It's super incremental. And we definitely have setbacks all the time. Like, where you're hiring, who you're hiring, how you're training, is the AI chatbot doing a great job for customers? Yes, no, did we under deliver on something? How did that bug happen? How did that outage occur? Those things happen. But I guess what we do is we just sort of take them on as a challenge and work the problem and try to figure out how to get around it and how to get over it. But we don't really, I don't know, we don't let it set us back very long, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that I've always liked is the adaptability, because even when we had the SaaSpreneur in Sydney, and we had Q&A, there was probably about 5 or 6 things that people like, it would be great if this was a thing that was sorted out, or it'd be great if this could be done.
Yeah.
And then you guys are like, yeah, cool. We'll have a look at that. We'll get it sorted out by the end of today. Done. And to have that kind of connection even like separate to the challenges. Having that kind of floor to have that conversation is fantastic. I know I had some issues with some phone numbers going incognito on my account, and then tagged in a few people, and within a few minutes we had people dropping in DMs, emails, and things like that. So I definitely see how you guys jump in there, and it's just great to hear. I think that, regardless of size, you're going to have your challenges. It's how you look at that, and then turn that into an opportunity, which I really like how you've highlighted that.
Yeah, I mean, we're super fallible individuals. Like, we're just as human as all of you. We screw up all the time. I mean, and you guys are super smart. So like you'll pin us dead to rights, a lot on a lot of those issues. And but we're also just as happy to say like, oops, but we do care a lot, and we do want to fix those things. We want to do a better job. We want to be as error free as possible, and not so much because like we care about that stuff, because we're not necessarily those people, but we respect the impact that it has on you and respect the impact it has on your customers. So that's why we take it super seriously. And we have lots of like super fancy like cybersecurity people now, and legal people now, and all kinds of people that do things that I have no interest in, but I think are important. So I hire them. I write the check. I support them. I let them do their thing. There's lots of stuff I'm not a big compliance guy. I know you probably figured that out by now, but I get that a lot of you live in places where compliance is really important for whatever reason, and we want to drive harder on that stuff. I mean, we're putting a ton of money into whatever that SOC 2, and then data, whatever it's called, putting your data in your country, all that stuff. Like, we're taking all that very seriously, because we know that you guys get meetings with regulatory folks, government agencies, things like that, where they're going to die on that hill, and we want you to be able to win those contracts. So we do work very hard on that stuff, and we do care a lot about it. So, but we don't really, I guess, when you feel like you're working every day in a partnership with your customer, I think it changes the conversation a bit. Like, we just feel like we're getting feedback, right? Like, we just feel like we're ever improving. We don't really feel like we're like delivering an end result and then expecting you guys to say, oh, that's perfect. we expect to deliver something that hopefully you asked for, and then to get feedback on that so we can improve it and make it better. So for us, maybe a lot of that feedback doesn't necessarily present itself as negative. So it never really feels like a challenge. So maybe it's a little bit of a mindset thing too.
Yeah, awesome.
Yep. Awesome. I was going to say on that data, I live in Canberra, capital of Australia. There's all the departments, all the government departments, and pretty much majority of small businesses here, small to mid-size, they all have government contracts. So that's a problem, right?
Yep.
Because they have requirements like they need, the big one is Microsoft. They say, we need everybody to be on Microsoft when it comes to email stuff. But also in general, even that aside, it's the data being in Australia. So
oh yeah, don't worry,
yeah,
we are painfully aware, but we are also on it. So the team is working on it right now. I don't know when it goes out. I don't know if it's Q4 or Q1 or whatever, but I'm sure there's a town hall on it, or if you want, you can bug Varun at GoHighLevel.com. But it is something the team is very much working on, and Varun actually is spending a lot of his own personal time on it, just to make sure that when it gets done right.
I'm not worried. I tell you this, I hear from some customers like, you guys, you don't have this, in our HighLevel version or whatever, when I'm pitching to businesses, like, you don't have this thing. You know what? I stopped caring about that, because it's always just a matter of time.
Well, there's that. And honestly, I always tell people, look, do not get into a feature fight with your customer, because you're never going to win. Because if they bought anything that has that feature, they're going to feel compelled to go to the mat on that, and you're never going to win that argument. Plus, it just puts you in this weird situation where you're telling your customer they're an idiot. It's just better to talk about outcomes. Be like, and it's ironic, because on almost any other vocation, no one ever does this. You're not like, okay, Mr. Remodeler guy, do you use Makita tools? Because if you don't, I refuse to let I have some Makita tools in my garage, and they're the best. Like, no one ever says that crap. They just want the outcome. And I think if we focus on that as practitioners, we are going to get much, much, much farther than focusing on features anyways. So like, that's my advice, but you are right. We will eventually have it all.
Awesome. Look, I just want to check in on time. I know you said initially you only had 20 minutes, and I appreciate you still being on. So
yeah,
do we have you for a little bit longer? Yeah.
I think I've got five hard minutes.
Okay, let's give it up to Priya. Priya, you were first, then you go Cece.
Sure. Hi, Sean. Just a quick question. So we
Sure.
went global this year with different SaaSpreneur events. So I want to ask, what's your personal favorite out of all the global event?
Oh, that's not fair. That's not fair at all. I refuse to answer that question.
Yeah, Sean, what's your favorite country?
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
See,
Um,
I mean,
you
this
know
is
what?
one room where I get so many Aussies.
I will tell you though.
I love that
I will tell
question,
you.
Priya.
Well, I will tell you, I have had amazing experiences in all of them. And if anything, what it tells me, I want to go to more places. We have team members in the Philippines. So I went there for an extended period recently, the last couple of years, and it was awesome because I got a chance to kind of go behind the scenes with them and actually see a little more of the city and the history and all that. And there's a really killer fort. Well, there's like a cool fort there. And if you haven't gone there, you got to go. It's all part of World War II history. It's really neat. But at the end of the day, like what I would say I learned is how unique. I've traveled a lot, but I think when you travel for business and like just what you learn putting your feet on the street, it's just impossible to explain to people until you've done it. So like, when we went to Australia, it was really interesting to me to see how many people, like, the whole Buy Australia concept is really big there, but it doesn't feel like nationalistic per se. It's not like a personal thing. It just feels like it's historic. It's like we all got thrown on this island together, and if we don't pitch in and if we're not all like working together, like, bad things are gonna happen. So we need to like be a team. And so I didn't realize that as much. And so so that was cool. And what it really shows me is, and we're working on this, but we're going to deploy a lot of international offices in small and large parts all over the place. So the UK, Australia, probably the Philippines, like all over the place. We have a Dubai office opening soon. And these will be small teams that they're not designed to, grow a dev team or grow a big, customer support team or whatever, but just having local support, because I could see the value of that as we become more international. So we can be on your time zone, speak your language, help you out, faster and better, and just do a good job, support you at events, things like that. So we'll definitely be more and more international in a very big way in 2026.
Yeah, that you pretty much answered two and the second and the third question yourself. What was your plan for 2026, and what was your learning from Global 2025? Was going to be my follow-up
there's a
questions.
big world out there, and there is no business we can't help together with all of you. And so, we are throwing a lot of resources into. It's not just payments, but it's taxes, it's language, it's all of those things. And I also think having more regional support will help with all those little things. I mean, everyone in their own culture knows all the little things, and so you can't even name them most of the time because you take them for granted. But when you have people that are local, they get it. And so, we really are all in to do that, so we can help support all of you in your efforts locally, not just in the U.S.
Thank you so much for that. I know it's
No
really
worries.
challenging to come to the land down under, so we love to see you next year.
I can't wait. It was amazing.
Priya, I'm excited for your event.
Yes, Andy, let's do
Ooh.
it.
Yeah, where's it at?
We're planning in
Oh,
2026.
okay. All right.
Yeah. We're getting all the Americans to Australia next year.
That's a hard thing to do. It's a long flight, but it's worth it. All of you who are on the fence.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. Do we have time for one more question? Michael,
more
do you have a
question.
sorry, Cece. Yeah, go. Yeah. My bad.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just really curious because I mean, first of all, thank you so much for being a human, Sean. I mean, you're one of those guys that I really look up to in terms of managing like such a huge company. I mean, you have this big company, you, Varun, and Robin, yet you still manage to reply to people like personally, DMs, posts, everything. I'm curious, like, do you actually set an hour a day to just talk to your users? I mean, I'm just wondering how you're able
No,
to
I'm
do
not
that.
like that. I'm super unorganized. So I'm very much living the moment. I just try to prioritize. So like I'm always like customers first, right? And then, and then release notes after that. And then, and then anything else after that. So what I try to make ample room in my day where there's just no meetings allowed internally so that I can just be ad hoc and help out. Because I would say my biggest role, so like I will tell you, I am so lucky in so many ways. Like I have the absolute best customer base to serve in the world, and I have the most amazing team who wants to serve those folks. all that happens is sometimes like as they're trying to like get together, like, oh, there's a little miss right there. And my job is just to pick up that miss and like bring it back together. I have never I almost never, I can't even think, like I never see someone do a bad job on purpose. And I know that's kind of weird to say, but like we've all gone into like restaurants or something where sometimes like a bad day and they're like a real jerk to us. Our team, like I'm just telling you, just us, it's like a very rare, if never happens kind of thing. And so when things go wrong, it's just like, oops, either my team doesn't understand the urgency of the issue. Oh, like, hey, guess what? My entire business is down because of this. It's not like something I can wait a week for or whatever, right? And it's just a miss somewhere. Or someone will say like, oh, here's a new feature, and people are like, no, that's not what we're talking about, man. And so my goal is to jump in and fix that issue immediately to try to connect it, but then also to then double down and say, okay, well, what happened here? Because I know there were great intentions on both sides. Like, why did we not do a good job for you? So for me, that's like, that I would say if someone says, what's my job? That's my job. But the way I do that is I just try to keep like as much room open in my schedule so that I can be available for people who are in that situation.
Yeah, well, I commend. I mean, like I really am so grateful for you to do that. But I think as founders and CEO, why do you think it's important to like connect personally to your customers? I mean, you have a big company. Like, why do you still connect personally yourself?
I don't know. This is just how I come. I don't know. Aren't we all like people? I hate people who think they're too important. Those people piss me off. I've always hated those people. I hated those people when I had when I was when I was a nobody and I but I will also say I had the opposite experience. Like I got to meet all kinds of really cool, amazing, highfalutin people when I was when I had zero connection, zero anything, and they made an impression on me. Like I was and many of them helped me get here. And so I'm just like, how can I not pass that back to other people? Like I feel so fortunate to have had all the help I've had, because I mean, I didn't come from a family with entrepreneurship. I didn't even know what the word entrepreneur meant. My mom was a mechanical engineer, single mom, only child. Like I didn't, I love my mom to death, but she like, if I said, hey, I want to start a business, how do I do that? She had no clue what to tell me. And so I had to seek help elsewhere, and I got help from some really amazing people along the way. And like, to the extent I could pass any of that on and help people, I feel super lucky to have that opportunity. So I just feel lucky to be here.
Thank you, Sean, and see you in the
Yes,
Philippines.
thank you very much. And on to the more important and smart people who actually know how to do stuff. But thank you for having me. It was great to be here, and I'll see y'all later. Bye for now.
Thanks so much, Sean.
Take care, Sean.
Thank you. All right. Awesome. Well, that was amazing. I don't know about you guys, but let's bring it into the room. We're gonna take a small commercial break shortly, and then we're gonna dive into all the new epic announcements with all of these legends. So stay tuned. We're gonna go for a small break, about 4 minutes. This will give everybody an opportunity to take a toilet break, whatever, and then we're gonna dive into all that epic stuff. So without further ado, let's have a break.
Hey guys, it's Gary here from MyCRMSim. Quick question for you. What if you could get set up and start sending iMessage blue bubbles through HighLevel for less than $1 a day using your iPhone? Well, now you can. With MyCRMSim, it's fast, it's easy, it's ridiculously affordable to get set up, and you can be sending iMessages today. Check us out at mycrmsim.com and we'll show you how.
You may not realize this, but for the last 2 years, I've had a secret weapon that has made running my business inside of HighLevel so much easier. You see, there is so much that HighLevel can do, which is amazing, but it's a lot of work to stay up to date with it. And even more so if my customers are asking me questions about it. And this is why I'm excited to announce that our show is officially part of the HLTT Creator Network. This is HighLevel Pro Tools on our